Hello New Zealand, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us. We've got a lot to cover in our video today. We're talking about a warm-up for the weekend for New Zealand after the cold southerly earlier this week. We've got an early out-of-season tropical storm forming northwest of New Zealand, and we've got a typhoon heading towards Japan, the second one to move towards that country in just a few weeks. But we're going to start with New Zealand, and first of all, the temperatures. We've got a cooler night coming tonight, another cold night for a number of regions, colder than average actually for this time of the year. However, it's going to change on Friday to warmer than average, and this weekend most places do get a warm up, and they get a warm up because of these nor'westers at the bottom of the screen. They're going to move up and across the country over the weekend. And the reason why I've got New Zealand focused down here is because this low up here is an early out-of-season tropical storm, and it's one to keep an eye on, at least for the Solomon Islands and over towards Papua New Guinea and Northern Australia. It's not a threat to New Zealand, but it's one to keep an eye on because the tropics are actually waking up earlier than usual, several weeks earlier than usual, to the point that the government forecasters have absolutely nothing on that storm. It's too early for them to have the graphics for it. So let's go back to New Zealand, and as I say, tonight is a little bit colder than average for this time of the year. That's what the blue means. So most places have a bit of a cold single-digit night tonight, but here's the flip side. On Friday, warmer weather is coming back. Look at the double-digit temperatures. Already some places could be several degrees warmer than they were a couple of days ago, and you fast forward to Saturday and you could be talking over 10 degrees warmer for some of these southern regions. But it's still a little bit cooler than average on the eastern side of the North Island. Your warmer weather comes in this weekend. So this is how Friday shapes up. High pressure around the country, but there's still the leftovers of the southerly that's been around this week. So it'll still be a little bit cooler around the eastern side of the North Island with showers, but you can see those nor'westers out of Australia and also subtropical in nature, and that's why your temperatures are starting to lift up. Meanwhile, there's that low forming, that tropical storm to our northwest, but because of this blocking high, New Zealand is sheltered from it. But you can see here on the next few days ahead, and you can see right through until Sunday, this tropical low doesn't really move. It is stuck up around the Solomon Islands, so it's not a threat to New Zealand or actually Australia at this stage. Let's get into the weekend, and Saturday sees high pressure over the North Island, and that means not only is it drier and calmer in the north, but the nor'westers are coming in for those in the southern half of the North Island. It'll get windy around Wellington later on, and speaking of windy, the South Island's pretty windy with those nor'westers blowing through, but it's going to be a warm day, so I think most of you will be quite happy with it, maybe with the exception of the west coast, where heavy rain does move northwards. And by Sunday, that rain stays on the west coast and it slowly moves into the North Island. The nor'westers cover the whole North Island though on Sunday, so it's warmer than average in most places, all the way down to about Christchurch. Then you've got an area of low pressure, and behind that, a light southerly or southeasterlies, and the winds will just be a little cooler. Into Monday of next week, that's the leftovers of that front that was moving up the west coast. So it's only going to bring a few showers to northern New Zealand. In other words, most places remain drier than average rainfall-wise. It doesn't change, and even on Tuesday, you can see the high pressures either side, westerlies blowing through down here. That's going to keep for dry weather for a number of regions across New Zealand. But there's one positive. With that tropical low forming, there's all this energy up in the tropics, and while we've got a big belt of high pressure mostly blocking that, you can see there's a bit of a weakness as it comes towards us. So there's some signs that the tropics are waking up, but at this stage, it looks mostly dry around New Zealand. Now let's head to the Northern Hemisphere. We've got Typhoon Trami, which was a super typhoon yesterday, but has weakened. This is the northern Philippines, so they are getting a close call, but thankfully they're missing this. Taiwan out to the west, Japan to the north, and this storm has just stopped, and it's about to turn and curve northwards up and towards Japan. And they just had a deadly typhoon not long ago. Hopefully this one won't be so bad. You can see here on the rainfall maps, a little bit like those Australian ones I just showed you, the sort of the next few days ahead, you can see just here, the rising of this storm very slowly coming in towards Okinawa, and then the southern one here, which is coming in towards Friday, it is getting closer, and it's going to move up and towards the mainland of Japan. This is the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, the US government, and that you can see here, all these rings means the storm's barely moving, so each update shows very little change. All of a sudden, it reaches southern Japan and it races off. So that's good. These big gaps, that's a good sign that the storm's going to pick up a lot of speed and race through Japan. But a very busy time at the moment around the globe, weather-wise. That's all from me. We'll see you again on Friday.